going to call our regular meeting to order. This is our regular meeting. We've had a lot lately, so I'm calling the meeting to order at this time, and if you would join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. If everyone will stand at this time, if they have I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Board members, at this time, we need to approve the agenda. There is one item to add tonight under our consent agenda, under item G, to authorize payment of all invoices by June 30th, 2022. And item H, facilities use agreements, and add an additional field trip to item F. All in favor of making the addition and items, please say aye. Opposed? Are there any other additions to the agenda tonight? I need a motion to approve the agenda. Make a motion. Motion on Ms. Fellows and second. Edwards. All in favor of approving the amended agenda, please say aye. Opposed? Move down now to Carla with our recognitions.
Good evening, board members and guests. This evening's recognitions are made up of several high school athletes who have recently achieved state awards. I'd like to begin with track. Mr. Carson Groves, he is a recent graduate of Muhlenberg County High School. He competed at the 3A KHSAA State Track Championship at the University of Kentucky on June the 4th. And he finished third, which was amazing. And I hope he doesn't mind, but I want to share what Carson's dad had posted about his competition. He posted this on his Facebook page, and he said, Carson started out in lane 1, which puts him starting in the back. By the time he got to the next to the last hurdle, he was in first place, running the best race and time he'd run all year. Then on the last hurdle, his front foot got caught going over and he fell. And he fell hard. But somehow he managed to get up and finish, and still finished third. He is a champion in our eyes. Congratulations, Carson. Davis, would you come down? We'll get you here in the middle.
No, there was good things on Facebook.
Yeah, there he is. I look hard. Awesome. Thank you. Congratulations. All right, our next athlete, he is no stranger to be recognized. Mr. Peyton Crick, he will soon be a senior at Muhlenberg County High School, was recently awarded the Midway University Swim and Diving Male Student Athlete of the Year. I recognized this. I knew that I had recognized Peyton earlier in the year when he was actually designated this, but they went on to offer a banquet for them on June the 6th, I believe. And so he went up and they presented to him, and I wanted to read what his certificate had to say. It is presented to the student athlete who exemplifies outstanding athletic performance, community service, leadership, and academic achievement in his sport. Peyton, he is the son of Amanda and the late Brian Crick of Bremen. Peyton, if you would come up, I have a certificate for you. What an honor. Thank you. And then our final recognitions, and I know nothing about shooting, so I'm probably going to mess this up, and I just want to put that out there ahead of time. It goes to 2 members of the high school trap shooting team. Did I say that right? Awesome. Miss Caroline Hope competed last weekend at the KHSAA Clay Target League, and she received the High Overall Female Award, the High Overall in Conference Award, and 2nd place in female trap. Did I get that right?
You did.
Yes. All right. Miss Caroline is a graduate of Muhlenberg County High School, and she's the daughter of Tracy and the late Lisa Hope of Beach Creek. If you'll come up. It was a lot. Thank you. Thank you. And last but certainly not least, along with Caroline, was competitor Miss Kaylee Miller, who also is a graduate of Muhlenberg County High School. And she placed first in her division and had a shot of 84, which was incredible. Kaylee is a graduate, and she is the daughter of Shane and Tina Miller of Beachport. It's summer and it's hot. I want to thank you parents and you families for coming and supporting our athletes tonight. Congratulations. Thank you students for representing Muhlenberg County so well. That's all I have in recognition. I do just want to say a final thank you, Mr. Davis, for being an awesome superintendent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Excuse me. If you families would like to follow me out, I'll take some pictures and then you're free to go, or you can come back in and enjoy this meeting.
Congratulations. Carson, good luck to you. Good job.
Good job. Thank you.
Step up.
How did we got that on camera?
That was embarrassing. Sorry.
You are.
I am. You made a good effort.
All right, so we will move on down now to our treasurer's report. Mr. Blessing, are you ready?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Chair. I just want to say, those are some stories of resilience too, with those kids. They're incredible kids. So I bring you the financials as of May 31st, 2022. Begin with the revenues. This month, the beginning balance is 32.65 million. That beginning balance is down 627,000 from last month, and with monthly receipts of 5.46 million. The monthly receipts are up 1.8 million from last month and up 2.4 million from the same period last year. The significant items in there, taxes are at 1.8 million. We received our franchise tax payment this month, or excuse me, in May. SEEK is unchanged. Federal is down 151,000. State is up 444,000. Taxes are up 1.4 million, as I mentioned previously. Other revenues are down 231,000. Food service is down 207,000. Daycare is down 75,000. For total receipts of cash securities and receipts is 38.1 million. Expenditures, total accounts payable this month was about 1.07 million. And payroll was 2.79 million. Accounts payable is up approximately 257,000 when compared to the same period last year. Again, construction and food service. The significant bills in May were A&K Construction of $154,667 and Heritage Petroleum of $128,739. Payroll is up 112,000 versus May of 2021. This is all federal funds and health benefits. For total expenses of 3.86 million. Accounts payable breakdown, fixed and mixed expense about 650,000, utility expense 126,000, and variable expenses of 292,000. Further breakdown of accounts payable. General fund was about 664,000. Fund 2 and school activity funds were about $80,434. Construction about 222,000. Food service and daycare 102,000. And that was it for those. The ledger balance at the close of the month, cash was 26.3 million. Investments for about 7.9 million. And for a total bank balance of 34.25 million. Further breakdown of the cash balance, general fund is at the significant ones there. Were general fund was 21.355 million. That's down 635,000. Fund 2 is up 1.7 million. Construction is about 3.5 million. Funds were transferred into that fund for construction, so it's just a fund transfer on that. Food service up 424,965 from prior months. Daycare was up 353,000. Total up was 5.58 million. Extended financial picture through October of 2022. We expect to have about 24.9 million in October. Any questions?
It's additional revenue in like June and July, is that like more excise and stuff like that?
Yeah, a lot of times we'll get the funds from the state that are equalization funds for debt service and those sorts of things. That's, I've put that in there, but typically we actually, it'll show up in the SEEK.
Any questions on the treasurer's report? If not, I need a motion to approve. Motion by Ms. Bard. Second by Ms. Bell. All in favor of approving the treasurer's report, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none. Bills and salaries.
This month in June of 2022, I bring $293,165.43. Of that, utilities expense were 76,000, fixed and mixed expense were about 102,000, and variable expenses were 115,000. The significant bills were Ferguson Enterprises, which is related to construction. So I also did want to add that I do plan on putting out a bid for investing some of our excess funds that we have. So we do have a larger balance, so I'd like to get some more funds invested. We have made about 600,000 off the prior funds that we invested. Any questions from the board?
Questions on payment of bills and salaries? No, I'll need a motion to approve. Motion by Mr. Gilmore. Second by Ms. Wells. All in favor of approving payments of bills and salaries, please say aye. All opposed? Thank you. And we'll move down now to public participation.
We have, you can talk. That's not. You're not gonna say nothing?
No, sir.
Okay.
Okay, we'll move down now to our administrative report. Just before we get started on the superintendent report, just a note, our personnel actions and rehire list have been given us, and they will be placed in the minutes. Down now to the superintendent report, Mr. Davis.
All right, thank you, Chairman Rager, board members. I want to start by, out with the old, in with the new, introducing Contessa Orr. Contessa is, y'all well know, is our new superintendent. She's from Logan County. We've been spending some time together today. We'll spend a lot more time together tomorrow. I'm confident Contessa is going to do a great job. Change is hard, and It just is. It's hard for anybody. Change also means opportunity and, bringing new ideas and some things that, when I left North Middle, I asked Steve Sparks, I said, for 1 year, don't improve anything. Just out of respect for me. And he failed. He failed almost immediately. I hate to say the next one bothers me the most. When I left Bremen, I said, Grant Sharp, don't improve anything for a year, out of respect for me. Even Grant improved from what I learned. So I'm quite confident that even though I've asked Contessa to do the same, she's going to come in and make changes and, in good changes and new ideas that I'm going to look back and say, I wish I had done. So,
We'll let you know.
I know you will. Others will too. But I do know change is hard, change is scary, it always is. And, but it is also, it's like I always tell my son, Chase, that change is also opportunity, it's possible. So, Contessa, welcome to Muhlenberg. You will have a great group of, as I've already told you, you have a great group to work with. This is a wonderful board, principals, the staff, it's just good human beings, top of me, good at what they do. So I want to start with that. I'll get into some serious things here. The high school cafeteria is not where we want it to be. We had a progress meeting with that this week, Eric, or late last week? Last week. And it looks like the actual structure of the cafeteria and all the stuff that goes in it, be it all the equipment and all, likely will be ready to go end of October. Now, we know how they still miss deadlines. Switch gears, the other things to do with electrical, it's going to be at least January, and then a month to get it done. They can't get it in. Now they're fighting. We're somewhat hopeful that they're going to look at a different way. Can they do it in 3 different parts? There's other things which may need a change order and require a little more money. I said, do the investigation. If it's some more money, it may be worth it to us rather than wait 3 or 4 more months. If it's an extravagant amount, then maybe not. But that's not what we wanted to hear, but that is COVID. That is supply chain. The problem that we have is, I'm not saying it's the case. I don't really think it is this time, but it's so easy to say supply chain and we don't know. So we're just kind of stuck there. So Joe Cooper and, the high school principal, we'll talk later about, Donna's going to be leaving, but there's some work to do there on how we're going to get food to them and, where we're going to seat them. We seat it in the dark. What can we do? What options do we have? So we're working on that, but that's not great news. That's not what we wanted to hear. We're afraid of this. And what I'm afraid of is that January comes and it still doesn't happen. So, I don't know. I just know when we finally get to the promised land in the cafeteria, it's going to be amazing. I want these seniors to get in there, but I don't know. So I'll be rooting for that from afar. I've met, I and a few others have met a couple of times now about trying to get an SRO in each building. I've talked with you guys about it a little bit. Now, the law says, the legislation says that's what we're supposed to do, but there's an out where many simply can't do it. They can't afford it, or they can't find the people, quite honestly. I mean, it's hard enough to find a law enforcement officer, and just because you're a good policeman does not make you a good SRO, so it's got to be the right person. But, we thought, let's just see what we can do. So we had an initial meeting, and that was Eric and Matt and I, along with a few folks. And then we expanded it and had another meeting earlier this week. And we brought in the mayors, Will Ward, Greenville Police, Sfcc Police, and all right, let's just talk this through. Something will be coming to you on that, maybe. We are in the exploration process. How much can different folks kick in? Can we make it happen? We're probably about $165,000 to make that happen, is what it would cost, plus some equipment and all that. So we just dumped over $1 million back into salary. Obviously, nothing is more important than safety, but there's a limited amount of funds too. So we're working to try to make it happen this year. We're ahead of most districts as it is. We've got 5, and many districts, much larger than us, have fewer. I think a neighboring district may have 1. So we can either say that and hang our hat on that and be pretty proud of that, or say, you know what, we can possibly do better. And so we're trying. So you'll be hearing more about that as we can in the Felix Martin Foundation. I don't want to promise anything from them. We're talking with them. Can they help on this? They don't typically try to do that with recurring cost kind of thing. So I think federal dollars will be coming on that, but we won't know soon enough to get it done this fall. I think state dollars may come. So that's kind of where we are with that. I will tell you, we did talk while we had them together about let's make sure we do some active shooter training again this fall before school starts, probably a staff work day. We had done that quite a bit. It's time to do that again. Let's bring that back up. And maybe if you guys remember, my goal had been to do one of those community-wide events where we brought in fire, we brought in ambulance, we brought in dispatch, we brought in state police, and we all worked together and basically shut down roads, did it right on a staff workday where we had staff members in there to go through it. We did it at what was East Campus in South Middle now. And then we did a scaled down version of Bremen. My hope was that each year to, during the summer or staff workday, to go to a different campus and drill that. So we're talking about, can we do that again this year? That would likely be, and I haven't talked to Grayson yet, but the next move would likely be at South Elementary to practice that because they're further out. So, response times will be changed a little bit. We may want to take a look at that. Now, can we pull all this together? Because that's a lot of coordinating. Not sure, but we're having those conversations too. So we want you to know that. Also, I'm very excited about our partnership with Meade County. A group of us went to Meade County, I guess it's a couple of weeks ago. We're one of 11 or 12 districts, I think, that have basically signed up with them because they got a good thing going on. And they really, it started with special ed, but their theory is, and I believe in what's good for special ed students, good for general ed student. And it's really about keeping special ed students in a general ed classroom as much as possible. That's part of it. And they really have some processes to work with, very thorough, very planned out. We will benefit from this. And I know Contessa was there as a representative of Logan County at the time. So she was at that first meeting, which is good. So if you hear more about the Meade County thing, you guys approved for us to sign on with them, basically. I'm excited about that. And one last thing, I didn't have principals come in today because you look at our agenda and I'm like, okay, I'm retiring. At some point I got to get out of here. So we didn't do our shout outs tonight from the principals, but I want to give one to our JROTC kids and Lieutenant Colonel Andy Wagner. He invited me, and actually Ken Carver went with us as well. We went out to the wet site, didn't know this was going on, I think maybe the first year. We had 13 kids out there staying 4 or 5 days, day and night. They slept out there. They got up early, 4:35 in the morning. They cleaned up. They did the whole thing, just regimented military thing. They went to the different stations. They rappelled. They worked on crossing a river by tying, working across on a road. They did survival skills. They did running. They made fire. I could not have been more impressed with our kids. And I say it all the time, but you hear, these kids nowadays, there are great kids. You saw some of them tonight. We have some amazing students. And I told you guys about our group whenever they shook hands just to take the senior picture with, the graduation picture with me. Each one of them looked at me in the eyes, shook my hand, had a conversation. I'm just proud of them. This group out there, they're just proud of themselves. And they went through a lot, and they rappelled 20 feet and they rappelled 40 feet. Did I go up there and look at it? Yes. Did Ken go up and look at it? Yes. Were we offered the opportunity? Yes. Did either of us do it? No. So I credit them because 40 feet is way up there. So I just want to bring that up and let you know that even this summer, cool things going on. JROTC program's outstanding. For some kids, that's just a wonderful program. So all of that, I had about a 30-minute talk on my accomplishments and all, but I looked at the agenda and I thought, they don't want to hear all that. So I'm going to keep it short. Appreciate you guys. Been good to work with. I can't ask for anyone. I'm just supportive. You never surprised me at a board meeting, which is what we asked for. But you're not yes men and yes women either, and I don't want that. Nobody wants that. You have opinions. You care about staff. You care about the kids. You're genuine. Not one time, I've said this before, not one time have you asked me for a favor. None of you. In 5 years now. Will you do this for somebody I know? Never. And I appreciate that because it wouldn't have happened anyway. You know that. But I do appreciate just the way you've gone about your business. We have fun, but you're professional. We get serious when we need to. And so thank you. Thank you for having trust in me, backing me, even times when you probably, that's not the right decision. We're never going to always agree. We're family. That's what happens. But I do appreciate you. I can't say enough about the staff. I could just go on and on, and it seems meaningless, but it means a lot. So thanks, guys, for all you've done. I'm still gonna be around, do anything for the kids I can, you know, whether it's recruiting me as a mentor. We'll see what goes there. We're gonna have the mental health business and working with some kids there and some programs. I think I'll be involved with that. So for the last time, that's all I have, Chairman.
And on behalf of us, I mean, we hate to see you go, but we welcome Contessa and hope everyone else will as well. You've done an amazing job for this district. 5 years ago, the culture change that has taken place in this district, the trust, it's a lot to do with this guy right here. So he's worked well with everyone. We appreciate that. It's a tough job. He's done a lot of hard things coming in, you know, especially COVID, all the complaints that everyone has with online, virtual, from, you know, retirement.
You don't have to name all the complaints.
You know, lots of things have come up that people had to complain about, but he has handled everything well. And his communication with us and the community and the staff and the students have been second to none. So for that, we greatly appreciate you. We know.
All my complaints till after.
No, you haven't.
He's not gonna be happy.
No, you haven't done.
But thank you so much for getting us where we are today. So, and we hope that will continue. I'm not the good speaker of the group, that's for sure. All right, so we'll go down now to our attendance and enrollment report. Mr. Hardison.
Thank you, Chairman Rager. You have in front of you the 9th and 10th month, just wrapping up the school year. You know, as in previous reports, looking at the attendance, but also looking at the enrollment numbers there. You're going to see a brighter month in the 9th month. Just to remind you, the 10th month was just it's typically 5 days at the very end, so it's a little misleading with the much less lower number there. So and it didn't have the best days on those last couple of days when kids were really getting that summer fever. So, but the big thing there is looking at some of those enrollment numbers, and Mr. Davis has shared with you, you know, some of our concerns, and that's going to be something that I'm focused on in the future, trying to get as many kids to take advantage of our school system as possible, because we have a great product that we want to offer to all kids in Muhlenberg County. So that's going to be the goal moving forward, to build back that enrollment after COVID. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Somebody get comfortable. All right, so we are down now to our board action items. And item A is to approve our district strategic plan.
All right, thank you, Chairman Rager. I've asked Dee Dee Ashby to come up and kind of go over some of how this came about and the process a little bit. Vice Chairman Wells was in on all this as well, spent several hours with us in planning. So Dee Dee, if you wouldn't mind, just kind of take us up, and then when you get to the actual plan, I'll kind of work through that as briefly as I can. But I don't want to gloss over it because it's important to spend a lot of time on it. I just don't want to take all night going over it either. So Dee Dee, thanks again for all your help. You're part of Muhlenberg now. She has been over here and just super supportive and encouraging. So thank you, Dr. Ashby.
I've eaten many meals and feel right at home here, so glad to be here. And I want to just start off by saying how much I appreciate working with Robbie Davis. Watching that video downstairs, I could identify with where we were through a lot of that, through some dark times. And Mr. Davis always shined a bright light and kept us smiling through it all. And so I think what weather hit Hopkins was in hit Muhlenberg, so I always got the 3:30 a.m. call from him. So anyway, but so appreciate being here, and I too want to echo what Mr. Davis said. Want to thank Ms. Wells for serving on the steering committee. Strategic planning is a little messy and hard to deliberate and prioritize, but she was there and helped us a great deal. And I also want to thank Carla Emery, because she was responsible for all the graphics, because Mr. Davis and I quickly identified that was not our strength. So we so appreciate that. She also sat through all the focus groups. So we met in October, if you all remember, and you all were the first focus group. and you had some great input. And so all of that we carried with us. And we're just going to take you through a quick PowerPoint. I don't know who's driving this. Okay, thank you. So as you'll see in the next slide that we collected a lot of data from different plans that you already had in place. And then we took all the information from the focus group, and that will help us shape where Muhlenberg County Public Schools wants to be 5 years from now. So all the great things that are currently happening in Muhlenberg now are not in that plan, because we're going to keep doing those. But this plan is about where you all, and it's your vision as a board, where you see us 5 years from now and how we're going to get there. So in the next slide, you'll see just a little bit about the process where we gathered information, prioritized that, studied it, and finalized the plan. And the steering committee put in lots and lots of time on that. So any work that you had already done and completed or had in process, we certainly reviewed that as well. I will tell you that Mr. Davis mentioned Close the Gap Kentucky and working in Meade County with 12 other partners. So Meade County is also a student partner, and we have 4 student partners that are participating, and Ms. Orr's part of that. So all of that information that we gather will certainly be infused into this plan as we go through. I also know that safety is a big concern with everybody, and so I am going to a national safety conference. I asked Studer to send me to that so that I can bring the most up-to-date information back to our districts and our boards, because that is the forefront, and all of those things change very quickly. So I'll be doing that in July and hopefully able to implement some of that as we go along. So we began in October, as I said, and then in January and February, we conducted our focus groups. And as you can see, we conducted groups with students, parents, instructional and non-instructional employees, and then business leaders and community partners. And these were all very, very enlightening, but I have to tell you, my favorite was the students. They gave us all kinds of information, and we took a lot of notes, and we would often refer back to, well, what did the students say about this? What were the students' valued words? I will also share that what's not up here is that we gave 2 surveys. One was the district services survey, where we conducted with all of the campus leaders and asked them to talk with us about how our district leaders doing with timeliness, accuracy, attitude. And so we got great results on that, but 67 leaders, campus leaders, participated in that. And then we did an employee engagement survey, and we had 477 employees that participated. So for a total, with the number of participants in our focus groups, we heard from 639 voices for this plan. And that makes me happy, because we did that in a pretty short amount of time, but we often would refer back to that. The next slide will, if you'll remember, were the questions, and you all drove these questions. We presented some suggestions to you, and then you said, yes, this is what we want to know, and you gave us answers about our strengths, opportunities for improvement, where we wanted to be 5 years from now, and what words that we wanted to hear when we were at Kroger or Rural King or church. When people describe Muhlenberg County Public Schools, what did we want to hear? And so you're going to see all of that in the plan. And I think now that Mr. Davis is going to take us through it.
Thank you, Dee Dee. Go ahead and move on there, you all the way down. Yeah, I can't see that, so I hate to do this, but I'm gonna look down and kind of go through this quickly. This, Dee Dee kept refocusing us, because this was tedious work, wasn't Susan? I mean, yeah, all right, we just want to get the wording right. And so what are the 3 big headings? And we were kind of all over the place. We finally decided on the ones on the left there, that's students, staff, and community. That's the 3 big groups that we worked with. So I'm gonna go through some of the student stuff. I'll just go kind of across the top right there. So the first heading under students were prepare all students to be productive and successful citizens. All right, that's the ultimate goal, right? That's what we want to do. So remember, this isn't necessarily what we're doing well now. It's what we want to be doing better in 5 years. We'll demonstrate essential life skills at all grade levels. That's soft skills. And we had started that, but we definitely want to pick that back up. And that's something that was important to everyone that we do that. Emphasize the importance of grades and all that. I'll try to shorten this a little bit, but that's basically, let's sell our schools. Let's try to get our kids to have some intrinsic motivation to come and help them understand this is all important because this is what you do this, you get out of school, there's your habits. So that was an important thing, provide smooth transition between grade levels. Definitely need to do better there. We've talked that more than we've done that. So I think that's something that we'll aspire to do. And Edie, I think it's fair to say too, we're trying to make these things measurable as well, because we'll come back each year and talk about this again. And we want to be able to, instead of just kind of say, well, I think we're doing better. Well, how do you know? So the next steps will be, how do we measure these things? The next, moving across there, provide an environment where students feel safe and belong. That was timely, huh? This was before even some of the things that have happened, but we want all students, belonging is kind of the new word, and I kind of like that. We want everybody to feel like that they belong, not an outsider. So implement comprehensive social and emotional learning opportunities. This is some of the mental health type stuff, and what can we do better there? Always striving to do better there, need to do better there. Strengthen student connections with caring adults. That's a relationship part. And how can we do that better? I've told you about some of the activities we've done, but again, these are things we want to be better at. The last one across there, provide a high quality learning environment. Obviously, we want them to feel safe. We want them to be strong mentally, socially, emotionally, but also we want to teach them. So develop an incentive program for good attendance. We definitely have to get our attendance up. We've got to look at that number. That's easily measured. And so that's something we're going to work on in high expectations and accountability. Next, we got to come back. What do high expectations look like? What does the accountability look like? How are you going to measure the ACT, MAP scores, other things? So we'll further define that. Then staff. What do we want for staff in 5 years? Well, certainly tomorrow, but in 5 years. We want to be unified as one district team, speaking with one voice. And that's something that I've taken from Dee Dee. I know when they did this plan in Hopkins, y'all really talked about speaking with one voice. You know, and I think we all have the same thoughts. We have the same aspirations, but we want to say the same things consistently and get buy-in from our group. So build an informative communication system through clear and consistent messaging. Carla is on us all the time. Guys, whatever you put out, be consistent with what I'm putting out. And we're so much better than we used to be, and we need to continue to get so much better. So we really want to work on our communication. You can never, I've heard that over and over and over. You can never be good enough at communication. On that survey, I read several, and it was like a good communicator communicates well. I'm like, good, good, good. And then I read some of the ones that what I need to do better. Needs to communicate better. Needs to communicate better. That means I'm probably not reaching some groups. So we need to get better at communication. Enhanced learning opportunities for all staff, not just certified. This is making sure we're having everybody reach their potential and contribute. Model high expectations and accountability. I've said that a lot. Back when the pension thing was going on, you know, when we were all mad, and I would say to staff all the time, they're watching us. How we handle a tough situation is important on here. Going forward, we want to continue to do that. We want our folks to make sure they're taking pride in doing the right thing the right way, even if they disagree. Our kids are always watching. So that's a challenge to the staff, and we want to continue to get better at that. Enhance an environment where employees feel valued. Wow, how big a deal is that? Recruit and retain high quality employees. Well, we just try to do that with the salary schedule, but that's an ongoing process. And I'm sure that will continue after I leave. That's part of it. There's more to it than that, though. It's treating people with respect. It's letting them know that they're valued. We need to be better and better and better at that. And develop a district-wide culture of gratitude. The board recognitions could do better at that. Contestant may bring some things in that's better than we do. I do think our folks know, by and large, they're valued. We do a lot of shout-out stuff, but there's more things out there that we're not doing. Dee Dee would help with that too. She's strong on this. This is something that Studer brings to us as well. The last one, I'm trying to move this where the light doesn't hit it funny here. Cultivate effective and efficient processes. Even to our staff, utilize our facilities and resources in ways that maximize operations. So this is kind of the facilities plan. What's going to happen with middle schools down the road? You know, we've started on this, but we need to be as efficient as we can. That's our staff here. Moving forward, that's a few years down the road, but that's something we aspire to do. Communicate organizational chart to define roles and responsibilities. Definitely need to do better there. working on that, but we need to more clearly define some things, tighten some things up. Some of the stuff is, it's just gotten a little loose and we've changed roles and we haven't updated. So we will definitely work on that. Set district and school expectations on methods and occurrences of communication with parents regarding student progress. This is the tough one. We talked about this. How much autonomy do you give schools to say this is what's best for our kids and ours, and how much do you say this is the way we all need to do it? Because consistency is valuable, but that's the conversation we need to have. How many ways can we get? It's almost like we put so much out in some ways that it's overload. But you're trying to reach everybody. Some have Facebooks, some have the texting, some have Remind, some have it. We just need to figure out a way to communicate. That's what that's coming down to, but that's the staff. Community. Improve communication processes. So improve effective communication. There that is again, regarding student progress by streamlining technology platforms. Similar to what we have with staff right there. Just kind of talked about that. Create an awareness that education is an opportunity, that requirement. I remember Dr. Freddie May saying that over and over in our meeting. He said, we need to get these kids to understand this is a privilege. This is something we're giving you that you're going to use the rest of your life. And we talked that, but how can we do that better? That's what that means. How can we sell our system, what we offer? Brent talks about that often to our public, where they want to not be at homeschool. They want to be with us. They don't want to be, they see our product is out. We feed, we clothe, we do all of these things. So that's something that maybe we can do a better job of communicating to the community. Create productive partnerships between our schools and the community. How important is that? Promote opportunities to engage our community members in our schools. COVID sure shut that down. We're saying we don't want you in our schools. We're going to come here with kids. Nope, you can do it. We've got to get back to we want our folks in our schools and to see what we're doing. If they come in, I'm very confident if you're in a Muhlenberg County school, you're less likely to complain about us. They're going to see us loving our kids. They're going to see us communicating with their kids. They're going to see kids laughing and all the kind of stuff you want to see. So we've got to figure out a way, whether it's mentoring or whether it's business leaders coming in talking soft skills, whatever it is, we want to make sure we do a better job of getting our community into our schools. Develop internships and cooperative learning opportunities. Love to see that expanded. That was shut down as well. But our co-op program can just grow and grow and grow and just be in more and more businesses. And then they're going to learn all the soft skills stuff there and just be more prepared, and our community will buy into helping our kids more. Seek opportunities for students and staff to give back to the community. We talk all the time about what can the community do for us. Hey, we want you to come mentor. We want you to do this. We want you to volunteer to do this. What can we do to give back? Brian Lyle did something in South Middle that I liked, and we may be able to expand on that in mind. He had his staff looking for things in the community and going back and maybe writing something up or sending something out to the community that, hey, we saw this. We appreciate that. So I think we need to do that. Not just what can you do for us, what can we do to be productive community members? Certainly during the tornado, because there ever been a better time to shine the light on how we can be helpful in the community. But we want to do that more purposefully and more consistently in the future. And finally, encourage supports with families to maximize student success. But we want to give our parents strategies and resources to be actively involved in their child's education. And we have the ability to do that more now with Chromebooks and other things. Let's tap into that better. In a few years, we want to be in a better place than we are now, but they feel empowered to help us. Goes back to the partnership thing. So that's the plan. Again, Susan was involved in it. We picked through it, trying to get the wording right, and there's some things that are important that didn't get in it. But if you go 5 pages of this, then you got the same as nothing. So you want to get it on 1 page. And any comments, Susan? You were certainly involved in this.
Just appreciate the hard work of everybody involved. Meetings that I was in, I mean, it was a great effort to get the right wording, the right meaning, so that 2 years down the road, we know what it means. And to me, having accountability and communication as a basis for all of it, I think everything else is more likely to fall into place if we stick to that and make that the high priority.
It's got to be genuine, right? It can't just be cool words.
It can't just be something we put on a shelf and don't do anything with. So appreciate everybody's involvement. Carl, I know you put a lot of time to it. Thank you. It was very interesting to sit through the process. It reminded me when we did the community visioning. It was,
Yeah, I like that.
it really brought back memories of that. So I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
And Dee Dee did a wonderful job leading us, and she's leading several other districts, so she can bring things up like, what Dave's gonna do. What I'm gonna do. Is it something good we can steal from them because we want to be the best, and I don't care to steal or borrow. I do want to thank this committee, this group, everybody was involved, but this group spent hours and hours and hours on it. So this is the steering committee, had some representatives kind of across the board. They helped take all that information, all that input, and make it this. So this group, you see them, Matt, thank you. Melody, thank you. Paula, thank you. Welcome. Brent, where's the? Okay. Matt, I love you.
That's a great group of people.
Thank you, sir. Solid group.
And several are on Zoom, so.
I think this is a great plan as we transition from Mr. Davis to Ms. Orr to have this. I wish that somebody would have handed me this when I started as a superintendent. And our next step for accountability and monitoring will be to develop that scorecard so that we can keep this fresh and in front of our principals, in front of our district leaders. And so I look forward to working with Ms. Orr on this. So I want to thank the board again for the opportunity to partner with you all. It's a wonderful pleasure. Thank you.
And we will survey it next year and see if we can improve. I will say, Dee Dee, am I correct that on the employment engagement survey, were we the 90th, over the 90th percentile?
Yes.
That's the first time through. That's without predictions. That's the nation, compared against the nation. So I think there's something to be said for the leaders.
Absolutely. To set your baseline at that high percentile compared to all K-12 schools that are part of Studer across the nation, that's huge. That is definitely something to celebrate and hang your hat on.
Thank you, Dee Dee.
Thank you.
So I'll need you guys to approve this. Is what we need.
So I'll need a motion to approve the district's strategic plan. Have a motion by Mr. Bowers, second by Mr. Gilmore. All in favor of approving our district strategic plan, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none. I'm down now. Consider awarding bids for CDL.
A big stack of things again. Well, every time I come with a big stack, everybody goes, oh, great, she's back. But anyway, this is something that we do every year. We did receive one bid, and it is included in your packet. It is actually the same prices that we had last year. So that's one thing that didn't go up on us this year in prices. So I'm asking that we be able to work with Baptist Health Deacons for our CDL.
Motion by Mr. Joe Myers, second by Mr. Culver. All in favor of considering awarding bids for seasonal principals to Baptist Health Deaconess, please say aye. Opposed? And next, item C, to consider first reading of KSBA board policy update number 45.
This is something that we do starting in June. This is the first reading of the board policy updates. We'll have the procedure updates to follow this. Basically, these are the ones that are recommended by KSBA, with the exception of some, if the district has some that they want to approve, usually if you've all have a note on anything there. Mr. Hardison is actually going to be speaking about one of them individually. It's something that came out that needed more discussion than what we would have normally. So what I'm asking you to do is to just approve the first reading of the policies for this year.
Second by Mr. Gilmore. And all in favor of considering the first reading of KSBA board policy update number 12, please say aye. All opposed? Item D, review of KSBA board procedure update number 26.
This is part 2. This is just the first and only reading that we need for the procedure update, and those are included in the packet. I'm asking for approval of those.
All in favor of reviewing review of KSBA board procedure update number 26, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Thank you. item E is to approve contract between, how do you say this?
Aptitude.
Aptitude, okay, and the Muhlenberg County Board of Education for Development Services.
Yes.
Yes.
So I'm hoping that I'll make you all very excited because I am very excited about this product. As you all heard in our strategic plan, communication is a key. This is the Cadillac of communicating for schools. I have attended several conferences and they are set up every time pushing their product. But as you can go through the paperwork to see, it's going to end up replacing a lot of the services that we use, like our messenger, even Remind to a point. We're not doing away with Remind, but it is a one-stop shop. So basically, it's an app that we can offer to our entire community. When they go to that app, it takes them to the district page. They can look individual schools. They can look at menus for the week. They can look at what's happening. They can look at fall schedules. And this company develops that for us. It's just a really clean look and a much faster and easier process in getting word out when we have snow days or when we have emergencies. Real quick push out. So I recommend that we enter this contract.
So you will be still involved in this?
I'm sorry.
You will be still involved?
Yes, I
Getting
will.
with them?
Yes, we will work together and then I will have, as well as whoever else you all want to assign, the access to sending out messages and pushing, when we make a post on Facebook, I'll be able to go into a school and if something's great going on right then, I don't have to come back to my computer and download the pictures and stuff. I can snap it, I can put it out there and say, look at what's happening at Muhlenberg County High School today. It's very quick.
So Carla, are you in favor of this?
Yes. I would highly recommend it.
So will there be some people maybe in
At each school level, we would like to choose someone that would have access for their school. So that, yes,
yeah, okay, I was
keep
just
it
wondering
updated
if
as
the,
well. Yes.
I can get some information that maybe,
How long is this contract? 5 years.
a motion by Mr. Jones, second by Ms. Moore. All in favor of approving the contract between Aptitude and the Muhlenberg County Board of Education, please say aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. All opposed? I hear that. Move down now to item F to approve non-resident student policy. Mr. Hart.
Thank you, Chairman Rager. Ms. Millie mentioned that I'll be pulling a policy out specifically to talk about tonight. The reason being, in the legislation that was written, House Bill 563, their expectation is this policy will be in place July 1. So with an emergency procedure, we can do one reading and have this policy enacted and be ready moving forward. So that is what I'm asking you guys to do tonight, is to act under an emergency process, but also approve this non-resident policy. Now, when we put together this, the wording here, it's really coming from KSBA as generic, simplistic as we can. And it's based on their recommendation just by what's in the law. And if you have any questions on that, basically in this non-residence law based on the new 563, districts no longer have barriers anymore. We do not worry about exchanging students or having contracts with surrounding districts. It's kind of open borders. And really the only way we can say we can't accept students would be capacity in this law. So if we find ourselves being maybe too crowded, and we can't accept students, we can say, hey, that's not going to work out for us. Otherwise, we treat kids exactly the same coming from another district as we would our own.
Once they're in our district, are they, their size increase, could we force them back out, or would they be able to stay?
We have, once we accept students, you guarantee them, they can be in our district 1 year. If we have a capacity reason, we would be treating them just like kids in our district. So that's the way that the regs say.
So the second year, if we had a surge in,
It would be realistic to, and it might be, we would talk to the parent, you know, and it might be we give them consideration of a secondary school or return back to their district. You know, we want to serve them
right,
just like they would if they were our own. In many cases, what those kids are, they're coming with their parents that live out of district that work with us. And so in many cases, that's what that is. But again, I come before you outside the mix because of the emergency status needing it in place by July 1.
Motion to approve. Motion, Mr. Gilmore. Second by Ms. Wills. All in favor of approving the non-resident student policy, please say aye. All opposed. Down now to item G, and that is to approve revisions and updates to student code of acceptable behavior disciplines.
Okay. Thank you, Chairman Rager. Thought this was going to be much easier when we first looked at this. We were thinking just change a few of the dates and some of the names on the back cover. But as we got into this, we realized that some of our actions and our behavior also were impacted by some of the changes coming from the legislation. And so just going to go over a couple of those. There is a new legislation that offers relief for students that have been in high school for 4 years, that are off track, and they can go down an alternate equivalency diploma route where they can take the GED and then get past that compulsory attendance. But it's a little bit of an aid to students that, or a process, and that's coming through new legislation that's going to be in some of the policies that you're going to be approving this summer. But we wanted that in our handbook to make sure our students are aware of that. And more than likely, in my role, if I see a student struggling with attendance, struggling the normal route, I will reach out to them and discuss that option if that fits them and we can see that they're successful. Now, you've already, there's some language in the virtual learning on page 7, where we talked about earlier in our virtual option, instead of being kindergarten through 12, we need to change that language because you've already approved to go second grade through 12. And then also a date change there. On page 10, another piece of legislation, they wanted to offer mental health. And so that's going to be, and we found a place, just like in the policy, it looks exactly like the policy, we'll put that in the handbook, where one of the 7 days that we offer, that'll be accepted as an excused absence if they label it as mental health or behavioral process. And then on the back of the book, you see there, we'll be updating superintendents, and if we have some, I'll hold out as long as we can before the printer starts on those to see if there's any principal changes too. So, but I did want to kind of run that by the board to say that we've updated those things, but also give us as much chance to get these printed into the schools as fast as we can. Any questions on any of that? I know it went quick.
Any questions? We'll need a motion to approve the revisions and updates. Motion by Ms. Wells. Second by Mr. Powers. All in favor of approving the revisions and updates to our student code of acceptable behaviors, please say aye. Opposed? So, item 8, just to approve MOU with Muhlenberg Job Corps Center.
All right, thank you, Chairman Rager. At first, we got approached by our staff at the Job Corps Center. We have a unique relationship with them where we have our career high in with their program. So they're 2 separate programs going out there at our Job Corps site, and they're very good to work with. but they had federal regulations coming down that they had to incorporate some language that dealt with cheating. And so kids, I guess, across their whole system in virtual worlds, maybe they've had some problems. And so they were required to put some cheating language in 2 or 3 places. And they came to us wanting to put that in our memorandum. Simple enough. But as we started to review, we started looking at it. We said, well, the situation has changed for us with our enrollment numbers out there down. Well, we had in our memorandum, we had listed how we would staff that with principal, 2 full-time employees, an aide. Right now, the enrollment numbers don't support that. So we wanted to take this opportunity to adjust the language from our standpoint of what staffing we offer out there. And we wanted our staffing in this, the updated version, to reflect where we are today, but also reflect how we could amend that if the enrollment goes back up. And they were very agreeable to that. They've been great to work with. We have had to go back and forth because we catch some language here or there. And Melanie, Mr. Davis, they've been both very good to help me catch a few things. But we also ran into the trouble. They had some vacation time, so we were trying to get back with them. And so it was a little bit slow process versus getting it to you. But I do apologize about that. But they've been great to work with. But you see there, the language is 1 full-time teacher under 17B, I believe it is, 1 full-time teacher, and then a principal. And then if we need to, we can add to that if the enrollment increases. That was our change. The other change would be where they added the cheating in a couple different places. So that sounded very logical.
It's just an opportunity for us to keep an eye on staffing over there, just like we do everywhere else. And obviously, if it grows, then we add staff. We have a great relationship with them. We learned something on paper that was more than just a handshake, because if the same group now that's out there and here, then we're fine. But if a different group comes in, hey, it says you have to do this, even if they don't have the kids to support it, then we're bound by that. So that's why this is, I appreciate Brent putting some time into this, get us to a better spot.
Any other discussion? I need a motion to approve. Motion by Mrs. Barr. Second by Mr. Bowers. All in favor of approving the MOU at the Muhlenberg Job Corps Center, please say aye. All opposed? Thank you. Now we're down to I, approve memorandum of agreement with Pennyville Mental Health Center.
I'm going to step in for Ms. Penley tonight. She just got an update, a good update, a positive report on her husband. So that's, we're all excited about that. But he did. He is out and doing well. So just recently got out of science. Excited about that. She's got her plate. So I will not do as great of a job at explaining any of this, but I'm going to do a lot of reading. So you guys just bear with me. I told her I wouldn't mind to do this. This is the first one I'm asking to approve is the memorandum of agreement with Pennyville Mental Health Center. And basically, we in the past have had a partnership. We kind of let that go. We are asking again to go into an agreement with Pennyville Mental Health Center for our students' needs. It is medical cards, self-payers. They'll be the primary sources of payment. Basically, this is at no cost to the school district, but it was just a partnership that it's time, and I think it's needed, and it's something that we need to pick back up. And if you all agree to this, I'm asking for approval of this.
Just curious, why did we discontinue it?
It was, I think, I don't want to speak out of turn on that, but it may have had something to do when everyone was trying to having trouble staffing. So I think that I don't want to speak, but I feel like that, if I remember correctly, it might have been something to do with we just didn't have the personnel for them to get up the work.
Any other questions or discussion? If not, I need a motion to approve. Motion by Mr. Bowers. Second by Ms. Wells. All in favor of approving the memorandum of agreement with Penny Royal Mental Health Center, please say aye. All opposed? We'll move down to item J, to consider job posting a school-based mental health care provider.
This is, we're asking to do this posting for the funding that has, it's $43,000 to apply toward an additional school-based mental health care provider. These funds cannot be used to fund services or staff already in place, but they're a supplemental person. That's what we're asking to post this position for. And after reviewing the needs of our students and counseling staff, it is recommended that the board post this position to search for an individual possessing one of the following credentials: either school counselor, school psychologist, or school-based social worker. This individual will partner with our existing counseling staff to expand mental health services for students. This position is grant funded and will remain in effect for the life of the grant as deemed necessary by district leadership. So if this grant provides, in the way this is, we're asking this time, if it provides for funding enough for next year, we wouldn't even have to come back, as long as the grant money is there and the grant pays for it, being able to utilize this position and this person in that position.
Any discussion on this?
So the district wide.
Yes.
Anything else? I need a motion to consider the job posting for a mental health care provider. Motion by Mr. Joe. Second by Ms. Wells. All in favor of posting the school-based mental health care provider, please say aye. Opposed? Here none. Down now to item K, to consider memorandum of agreement with Hopkins County Schools for teacher visually impaired.
Muhlenberg County Schools serves eligible students with visual impairments through the special education program. Based on these students' IEPs, supports are required from a teacher with certification in visual impairments. Muhlenberg County has successfully partnered with Hopkins County School District since the 2016-2017 year. Hopkins County Schools continues to employ a teacher of the visually impaired and has continued to offer an agreement with us for the teacher to provide services in our district 1 day per week. Specifics of the agreement are listed in the memorandum of agreement. So we're asking that we once again this year be able to go into this agreement with Hopkins.
All in favor of considering the MOA with Hopkins County for the teacher with visually impaired contact, please say aye. All opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Julie.
You're welcome.
All right. So now the item L, to approve resolution to issue bonds for the cafeteria expansion at the Muhlenberg County High School.
Thank you, Chairman Rager. I also want to mention that I have Dr. Tarvin with RSA Advisors. He's on virtually in case we have some questions that I may not be able to answer. This is to approve the resolution to issue the bonds for the cafeteria expansion. The School District Finance Corporation approved the resolution. Now it's the school board's turn. The Muhlenberg County School Board Resolution, the resolution of the Board of Education of the Muhlenberg County School District at Powderly, Kentucky, authorizing and approving the execution of a contract, lease, and option with the Muhlenberg County School District Finance Corporation and any further necessary instruments, approving the execution of continuing disclosure procedures and the execution of tax compliance procedures, approving certain architects' engineers' plans for the construction of a certain school building project and approving of the planned financing costs of said project. So, yes, ma'am.
Question. It says Muhlenberg.
It was a misprint when I originally saved it. I looked at my computer, pulled up, you know how it does the recovered things, and so yeah. So it said Muhlenberg. Mine says Powderly though, so I don't know why you got that.
Yeah, you know, you said talking. Must be flying when you look at this.
I was actually.
Any questions or discussion? Not, I need a motion to approve. Motion by Mr. Shaw. Second by Ms. Bard. All in favor of approving resolution to issue bonds for the cafeteria expansion at the high school, please say aye. All opposed? Now to item L, to approve revised BG1 for cafeteria expansion at Muhlenberg County High School for updated SFCC funds.
Thank you, Chairman Rager. I'm losing my mind. All right, so this is when we issue the SFCC dollar funds, I need to revise the BG1 to reflect those SFCC dollars. This is the revision containing that bond sale. So I just need you to approve the BG1 so I can return this in for KDE. I will mention that even though we've adopted House Bill 678, since we've already begun the BG process with this, we're just finishing out with.
Any questions? Motion by Mr. Gilmore. Second by Ms. Wells. All in favor of approving the revised BG1 for cafeteria expansion at the Muhlenberg County High School for updated SFCC funds, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Item N, to approve change order 2 for cafeteria expansion at Muhlenberg County High School.
Thank you. Change order has been requested to provide and install maple hardwood flooring instead of the red oak that was originally suggested. This is this in cost includes the cost of changing the trim, the millwork at the column bases, as well as the laminate here. The cost is $4,281. I think this was a change that was made by Ms. Bumps and the engineers and the architects when they met at one of the updates. So I think it was, if I recall, it was a color thing.
Any other discussion? If not, I need a motion to approve. Motion by Ms. Wells. Second by Mr. Powers. All in favor of approving the change order 2 for the cafeteria expansion at the high school, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Item O is to approve the fiscal year 23 salary schedule provisions.
Thank you, Chairman Rager. As you know, we did a very significant revamp of our salary schedule. There are a couple things that we necessarily missed, but the further we discuss them, they needed to be corrected. We moved some of the daycare workers. They were on a set rate every year, wherein someone that has been there for a significant amount of time really did not get to go on the step. So what we did is we moved those folks to a category instead of just on that page 0, we call it the miscellaneous page that would just have their rate at 1. So now as they advance in their time, so it's an incentive further to keep them here within the district. We included occupational therapy on the extra service page with physical therapy with a national board certification. That was also something that was there. That was something that we discovered after the fact. We did add the program coordinator, which is the Felix Martin Foundation funded middle school program category. So we wanted to make sure that we had that program in place before we had that item there. We added a choral director for the extra service grid over at the high school, and then their summer feeding was not included on this one, but we put it on that miscellaneous page. Are there any questions with those? If they get the $100 per year, that's a clothing allowance that they get annually. They've had that for, I don't know that it does it. That's what it's been for quite some time. We can talk to Joe about that, and if that's something that it's that's something you'd like to entertain. I have no qualms against it. Just
We knew there'd be a few things to go back, and, questions, something was not heard. time to this, but I told them there's going to be some things. Some can't think about, especially if some, hey, I missed that, or let's adjust that further. So we almost knew that we were following up.
The employees follow up or do you all?
The mix is a mix.
We're halfway through hanging.
Oh, wait, rough.
Trying to read fast, Daryl. I'm going.
Can we add a recline?
Fine one. That's the fine dime, fine.
Oh, you're supposed to ask for favors.
Any questions regarding this? If not, I need a motion to approve the salary schedule revisions. Motion by Mr. Gilmore. Second by Ms. Welch. All in favor of approving the salary schedule revisions, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Now it's item P. And that is to approve MOA between KDE and the Muhlenberg County Board of Education for non-events for education recovery.
This agreement is between KDE and Muhlenberg County Board of Education. This is so that we loan Ms. Bumps out for that, but they reimburse us for her salary, so it's not, doesn't cost the district in that respect. So this is the memorandum to put that program in place. The duration is 1 year.
Now, we reached out to you guys about these, but this will be one where she will not be coming back as principal. That's part of the agreement. That job will be posted as permanent. If she does come back, and honestly, this is likely to be an on-the-wall day, but if she does come back, she can guarantee her salary as of now for 1 year, and then whatever she does adjusted to that point. So there's very little, risk to the district on that. But I just want to make it clear what's going on this. And again, that job will be posted soon as a permanent job. So the high school, the principal position.
Any other questions or discussion? I need a motion to approve. Motion by Ms. Clark. Second by Ms. Wells. All in favor of approving the MOA between KD and Muhlenberg County Board of Education, please say aye. All opposed? We'll move down now to item Q, award bid from Muhlenberg South Middle School parking lot drive and resurfacing.
Thank you, Chairman Rager. We did an RFP for the road behind South Middle, which is in quite disrepair. Scotty's Contracting was the only respondent with the bid of $140,445.35.
I need a motion to approve.
So before we do that, I'd like to add in here that, I know we talked about this, the true grid option. Just moving forward, when we have something this large that needs to be resurfaced. I truly believe that we can redo a parking lot for this cost, if not just a bit more, and to be done in perpetuity using true grid or something like that. We just keep doing the same thing over and over again with these. It's pretty a lot of money. It's an interlocking system that you put down and then you fill it with gravel, and then the gravel stays in place. All we have to do at any time in the future is put a little gravel in if somebody took off too fast on the surface. But you can drive a bus, a tractor trailer, a dump truck over it. And wheelchair. Yeah, we have it at the distillery on the sidewalk. And we're getting ready to do our whole driveway with it.
Definitely something I'm next to this thing.
Absolutely. And the military uses it for roads in the desert. We've seen it work, and it works significantly. They also make runways out of it. So
That's something we need to look at now before this movie. We talked about it.
Of the companies that are on here have that,
I'm sorry.
of the companies that are on here that have that computer.
We ordered in,
And it's pretty cool. That was so cool.
This is,
This now may be a problem on this project.
but I do know of some future items that will probably be coming down the pike that this application would be fantastic. And I think and again, it's something, and this is something that, Ms. Bard and I talked about, that, you know, you can plant grass in it. And, you know, it's something where you can have kind of like an aesthetically pleasing type thing. So it's not necessarily just all gravel, you know, make it look pretty and that kind of thing. So it's cool.
It's the environment.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? If not, I need a motion to approve. All in favor of awarding the bid to parties to partake in parking lot and drive? So those will be say aye. Opposed? Item R. I'm probably not having a discussion. Item R is to award bid for Muhlenberg County High School. And
Thank you, Kim. We're almost there. Almost there. This is for the drive that's in between back of Felix Martin Hall and where the band field. And I did talk to Troy and had him go out and look at the grid, actually at the distillery, to see if this application would work. He said, unfortunately, it's not, because they're rolling their percussion instruments and those sorts of things across that. Otherwise, he would have been, you know, we would have been all in. So, you know, we will absolutely look for opportunities to use alternative means on those sorts of things. But we tried on this one especially, you know, just to say, hey, let's see if we can use this. And unfortunately, it wasn't the right spot to use that. So we're asking to pave the drive in between Martin Hall and the band practice field.
All in favor of awarding the bid for Muhlenberg County High School band drive resurfacing, please say aye. All opposed? Go now to item S, to request approval for committed and restricted fund balances.
It's the last item, for me at least. This is something that we had not really done in the past. We've had restricted funds, but I learned in the training that this is something that we should be asking for at the June meeting every year. So you will see this from here on out. I did want to put this as an agenda item this time. So you did get to see kind of what we were doing. So these are all balance sheet items. So these are restricted funds, committed funds, sick leave, all these things. These are the items that we discussed when we passed the tentative budget and those sorts of things. But these are actual figures to go with the items that we discussed. In the future, we plan on putting that on the consent agenda, just as something that you guys will be able to see, and that's what we're asking. So, but I did want you all to see this as an agenda item, so we understood moving forward, this is what we will see.
Motion to approve. Second. All in favor? Requesting approval for committed and restricted fund balances, please say aye. All opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, we are down now to our board consent agenda. This includes approving the minutes of the prior board meeting, authorizing district to file substitute teacher emergency certification forms for the 22-23 school year, appointment of districts ARC and 504 chairpersons, surplus and disposal of broken and outdated technology equipment, consider leave of absence request, consider field trip request, and authorize payment of all invoices by June 30th, 2022, and facilities use agreements, and additional field trip onto item F. Are there any questions or discussion regarding the consent agenda items? If not, I will need a motion. Is it for tickets tomorrow?
It's actually for Martin Hall and the school, and there's actually two for Martin Hall because there's the agreement, and the second agreement is part of their package. It's for an event that is usually at the fairgrounds, and it's going to be held at the school using both the school and Martin Hall. So all the paperwork's actually for the one of each.
Okay. So we'll just get ready there, I guess, and transport to,
Get ready on your end and use the.
center of actual, yeah, okay. Thank you. Is there any other discussion? If not, I need a motion to approve the board consent agenda. Motion by Ms. Jones, second by Ms. Ford. All in favor of approving the board consent agenda items, please say aye. All opposed? And at this time, we're going to enter into closed session after motion. We're going to discuss personnel KRS 61.810F. And I will need a motion we will come out of closed session and reconvene again and then adjourn. All right, yes, we need a motion to enter into closed session. A motion on Ms. Barb. Second on Ms. Wells. All in favor of entering closed session, please say aye. All opposed? Good, thank you. All right, so we're back in open session now, and we'll go over the summative evaluation for Mr. Davis, our superintendent. There are 7 standards. On the first standard, strategic leadership, we score Mr. Davis at exemplary. The second is instructional leadership. We also score Mr. Davis as exemplary. The third is cultural
our school district